Hey, this is a new segment on this channel on K-Time, and it's a podcast of just me, just talking about stuff, that, I think is interesting or just want to, have an update with you guys or whatever. So this segment is called Ponder Wave, basically me talking about whatever I want to talk about. So it's whatever. Also, if you didn't know, I have a podcast with a buddy of mine, Kita, called Ebbs of Mana, and we talk about nerdy things, whatever the nerdy thing may be. D&D, Magic, Yu-Gi-Oh, whatever, you name it, that's what we talk about. Or video games. So, I want to just start off with this episode. How y'all doing? You doing great? You guys enjoying how the world is just kind of falling apart right now? At this point, I'm kind of just like, whatever. It is what it is. Just enjoy what's around. That's how I feel. Now, besides the sad stuff, I want to talk about the game that I've been playing lately. And I have been playing Diablo 4. Now, this game has the internet just scattering around, whether it's a good game or it's a bad game or you haven't gone to the end content. Shout out to Ackman. His videos are fantastic, which I agree with his statement on Diablo 4. However, I still think that Diablo 4 is a fun game. Does it have like a lot of huge flaws? Oh, it definitely has a lot of huge flaws. Super huge flaws. But I've been playing Diablo 4, and a buddy of mine bought it for me because I wasn't able to afford it. So it was really nice of him to get me Diablo 4. And I've been playing it. And I didn't get to play the campaign, really, because like when my buddy bought it for me, we just kind of like, we went through like 8 hours of just straight running through it, straight to like, I guess what you would call the end game. Because the fun part of Diablo, almost in every Diablo game, is after you beat it, you just go to the dungeons and you grind for Paragon levels, and you try to get like the best gear, and like your brain kind of like goes on this huge dopamine rush when a legendary drops. I know mine does, especially with an ADD brain. As soon as I see that orange color go, psh, I'm like, oh my god, look at that shiny boy! And then I race into it, and I open it up to see what it is, and my friends are like, what are you doing? I'm like, I gotta check this out. If I don't do it now, we might die. And he's like, we're gonna die right now if you keep checking it out. And then we all die, and I'm like, at least I have a legendary. If anyone knows, like, that thing, I don't remember what you would call it. I know it's the Leroy Jenkins thing. Same part of, like, at least I have chicken. At least I have a legendary. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my friends, poor them. Oh, well, I got a legendary, and there's no way you're going to stop me from enjoying it. No, like, I'm going to play the campaign, like, on my own at some point. Like, I am starting one with my friend and my nephew, and we kind of started playing it, but, like, because of, like, how things are and, like, adult life and all that stuff, you kind of have to find time to do that stuff, so we haven't really done it lately. But just by myself, I have been playing as a mage. Holy crap! Did they take Glass Cannon to a whole new ordeal? At least that's what I thought. If you can output the damage, then you really don't have to worry about dying as much. And the way they do things on Diablo 4 is so weird, which is the reason why I agree with like Ackman's statement to comparing Diablo 4 to like World of Warcraft and other RPGs. Because there's these weird arbitrary like stats that really don't do anything unless you have like a bunch of stuff to add on top of it. It's not like they don't do anything, right? It's just like you could have really just simplified these stats to be more understandable. And D2 does that really well. And I think Diablo 3 does it pretty decently too. I'm not going to say anything about PoE because I don't know nothing about PoE. I know PoE is an ARPG, but I never took the time to play it, so I'm not going to make any comparisons to PoE to Diablo 4, even though like if I knew about PoE, there would be good points to like Diablo 4 and PoE. But they have these weird stats. It's so weird because it's like when you go to your character, of course in Diablo 3, like if you click on your character and it'll show all the percentages of your stats, fine. That's totally understandable. But when you look at Diablo 3, normally when you see your character, you're like, I'm playing a wizard, cool. I just need mostly intellect. All the other stuff is great, but my main stat is going to be intellect. You look at a barbarian, oh, I'm going to need strength, because that's where my character's strength relies on. You look at monks, oh, dexterity, it increases my attack speed and my attack power. You know, so on and so on. It's simplified. And it still made Diablo 3 like a fun game to play. You look at Diablo 4, and you get all these stats, like you get like a thing that says like plus 12 to all your stats, and you're like, oh my god, that's like super cool, right? Nah, it's not as cool as you think it is. Like it does help, but it doesn't help that much. You're gonna need a lot more than 12 to like feel the effects of any of that. So like I think the stats are a bit weird. How they like show like, here's the example. I play my mage and it's like damage to vulnerability, damage to stun, damage to frost, damage to chill, damage to frozen. Why do we have all of these like weird freaking things? Like I understand there's characters that will be like if you take all of that and you separate it, right? You have characters that have frost abilities. That's what you would use the frost vulnerable like stuff, right? If there's like stun and dazed and all that other stuff, then it's like, oh, I'm gonna play like as a rogue or like a warrior or something that has like a stun ability. So like if I play like a warrior, a barbarian, and I have like a stomp ability and it stuns my opponents, of course I'm gonna do more damage now because one, I've stat into it. Two, I have gear that lets me do that because of the stats. But still, all of these weird stats that just like lay down all of that, you could have easily just simplified the whole thing and be like, stun enemies take slightly more damage. That's it. Because dazed is kind of the same as stun. You know, like you stunned me or you dazed me. It's just so weird. And then not only that, the horse is super janky. Oh my gosh, the horse, bro. I don't know how many times I've died from the horse. I can't say earlier today because it's the next day. Yesterday I was playing the Helltide. Oh my gosh, it just keeps going down the rabbit hole. I hate the Helltide, even though it's got great stuff. So anyway, let's kill two birds with one stone, shall we? So the horse is a cool idea. It's a fun idea, right? I love getting on the horse, riding around, darting all over the place, but man, does it frickin' suck when I go to get on my horse and my horse is just pretty much slowly trotting forward. It's like, go! Go! Yeah! And you're just like, oh my gosh. And so I'm over there, like, playing, and I'm like, go, go, go. If you don't know, I'm using my Nintendo Switch controller. At one point, I just started getting mad, and I'm just like, because the horse doesn't just want to go when you activate it, all right? Like, how annoying is that? And it's even worse when you're in a Helltide because you want to get on. Let's say you don't want to kill the enemies that are there that drop these stupid little fire. Whatever the hell they're called. I forgot what they're called, but they're like these little fire orby things that you collect. And then once you collect them, you can go to a treasure chest within the area where the Helltide is and get like a cool piece of gear or a weapon or whatever. Anyway, let's say I just don't want to fight any monsters, all right? And I'm like, I get on my horse and I quickly want to get to the next area, the little event in the Helltide that gives you cool gear and like the fire orby thingies. But your horse is just like, yeah, you know what, this is a really nice place, even though it's doom and gloom, and, you know, like, my neighbor kind of looks like he stuck his head inside the barbecue, but that's okay, it's a little warm here, and a little heat doesn't hurt anybody. Meanwhile, I'm getting slapped by, like, a bajillion frickin' demons, and the horse is just this derpy derp horse, like, doo-doo-doo-doo, this is a great place, oh man, I could really go for some water, it's really hot over here. Yeah, you frickin' horse, got me killed twice! Okay? Now, because of my horse, you get slapped off your horse, and then you're fighting demons. Sometimes you'll get slapped off your horse, and you'll get hard CC'd. Oh my god, that's another thing this is just a rabbit hole of things I dislike about Diablo 4. But it's a fun game. I will say it's a fun game, but back to the terrible things about this game. I get slapped, I get hard CC'd, and then I frickin' die. And I lose all the fire orbies, which is the currency I use to get all the cool stuff. So I yell at my TV like a very angry person. You know, like a very non-logical person who would be like, oh, well, maybe it's time for me to take a break. No! I gotta yell at my TV, get up, walk away for a second, come back, and I'm like, alright, I think I'm ready. So I go back out there, and I'm bitch slapping all of these frickin' demons. I'm collecting the fire orbies, and I get to the event, and I kill all the monsters to get the fire orbies, and then the boss shows up in that event, and I'm like, yeah, I'm putting it to him, I'm just kicking his ass, I'm doing all these cool things, and then out of nowhere, you know, after I gain about like 125 fire orbies, which is enough to get one thing if you're in tier 3, but you could go from tier 3 and collect your orbies, go to a box that you want, switch to tier 4, and then get it. But sometimes the game is hilarious and thinks they're the funniest person around in the room and just stomps on you. I don't know how many times I like screamed at my TV and my dad was like, hey, you doing good there, bud? And I'm like, no, I'm not doing fine. This game is bullcrap. So I decided just not to do any of the Helltides until I feel like I'm able to go in there and just like blow up stuff. Yeah, it's probably a smarter idea not to do that. Oh, can we also talk about, you know, we're gonna kill a third bird with the stone. I'm over here, Diablo's a good game, and I just hear a bird, being pelted with a giant rock. Hey, Jimmy, I think that was Carl. That's the third time this week. Yeah, it seems like they're killing 3 birds with 1 stone. What are the odds of that? God, I'm an idiot. But Blizzard really needs to fix the rubber banding and like the internet, because while they're allowed to have their game be online all the time, it's up to them for that, and I don't personally agree with that game being online all the time. It's their IP, they can do whatever they want with it. But what I do have a problem with is, because like, you won't see me play a hardcore character on this Diablo, because it's one thing to lose your character when it's an offline thing, and you go, oh, well, I messed up from doing whatever. It's one thing when you have a level 100 character, and like, you're like doing all of these attacks, and they do nothing, and you're like, oh my god, I'm rubber banding. My internet is great, I don't know why this is happening, I'm rubber banding. Oh, crap. And then people try to rush all the way to the beginning of the level so their character doesn't die. And granted, they found a way to be able to like get into town, And I'm not sure if that technically saves their character from dying. I've only seen a couple of people like do that and didn't lose their character. But I've seen, like short clips of people with their level 100s rubber banding, and it just dies, and they just flip the fuck out. And they have every right to be mad. Blizzard needs to fix that ordeal. Like, I don't understand. How do you not sit in a boardroom and go, okay, we're going to have a hardcore mode. It's going to be always online. Or one person brought it up. What happens if their character dies? From lag. Shut up, Timmy. They'll have to make another one and keep playing it. Anyways, that's our strategy. That's what we're doing. We're moving out! Don't you think that's a... Get this man out of here! Beat him with a bunch of churros. The really dry ones. They're delicious. I don't know where that came from. They like sweets. Preferably stale ones. So you can beat people with them. No, but that is the dumbest thing ever. It's already a punishment, like Ackman has said. Like, it's already a punishment that you lose your character forever when you die on hardcore. But that's the price you pay when you play on a game mode like that. You make the decision to play that. But it's not your decision to die from lag. And that's Blizzard's fault. It's like, you're a multi-billionaire company that makes billions and billions of dollars. And you can't make a server that, I don't know, doesn't lag 90 to 95% of the time. There's got to be a percentage in there where it does lag because things happen. But, you couldn't have, put, good servers in there? What? I don't understand it. How do you do that? And not, how do you make a game and don't think of that? Because, people are probably going to dip. The hardcore players, you know what? Actually, now that I think about it, the hardcore players might actually keep making new characters and playing, which is asinine in my opinion. I don't know why you would do that, but whatever. That's weird. Overall, I am having a fun time on Diablo 4. I am going to have to go back and make a new character and play the story from the start to the end. Because I already know how the end game's going to go. I'm pretty much doing it right now on my mage. And since I figured out how to, get the modifiers to do one thing, which is super fucking useful. Oh, pardon my language. Super useful. Because is it sad that I didn't know how to do those until, I got to, level 71? The answer is yes. Okay? That's the answer. But it helped so much. Here's a good example. It helped me a lot because I was able to put out more damage now as a mage. I was doing decent amount of damage with my frost build. Now I'm doing really good amount of damage on my frost build. So as an example, they have this modifier where if you put it as Blizzard, every once in a while your character will have a blizzard fall on top of them, which is cool because it can combo with an aspect of your character. If you have an armor piece that has that aspect on it, which will say if you stand in a blizzard, it gives you some percentage of armor. That's super cool because it's kind of hard sometimes to cast blizzard on yourself. So if you don't have enemies near you, it's gonna cast blizzard from a distance. So it's cool every once in a while, pardon me if you heard that, it's cool once in a while that the blizzard hits me and then my armor triggers, and if they do get in my face, I can just spam blizzard and people will be hit with the blizzard and it'll be frozen and do tons of damage. That's super great. There was another one with, I'm wondering if it's my basic attack or if it's Frozen Shard. I don't think it's called Frozen Shard. It's the one that shoots like a machine gun. But it basically says when enemies are frozen, you shoot extra shards at enemies. So like I cast Blizzard and I use the frozen shard ability, and it's just like tons of them are just coming out, impaling all these freaking demons. And my ADD brain goes into full dodo mode, cross-eyed and ready to go. I'm like, oh, and I just sprint in there and I'm like, and then sometimes I get so heavily into that and my brain is filled with dopamine that I just die. But I can't be mad when I die because I decided to go in there like an idiot and just be like, they're gonna die today! And then all of a sudden I forget, like, oh, they have Suppressor, they have Lightning Ball, or whatever the freaking lightning ability is. They got Vortex, Waller, I don't know, Vampiric, more health, whatever the other stuff is. Yeah, it's not a fun world all the time, but it definitely does trigger my ADD brain to go, oh my goodness, that's so good. Now that we got some of the positives out of the way, there's a lot of good for Diablo 4, okay? Like, don't take this as me just bashing on Diablo 4, because Diablo 4 is a fun game. I do think that it is fun from 1 to 50. If you're just like a casual player who doesn't like get to play this like all the time for a job or whatever, or if you're a streamer or whatnot, just casually play it from 1 to 50. And then, if you want to play in-game, go ahead and play in-game. But I think from 1 to 50 is pretty fun. Just also keep in mind that, it kind of gets stale a little bit because a lot of it is, repetitive when it comes to enemies and whatnot. But other than that, it's a good time. It's fantastic. It's a good time. If you like those kinds of games, I would go ahead and play it. Do I think it's justified for $70? Hell no, I don't think it's worth the $70 for a game, let alone $60. Okay, that is way too much in my opinion. And do not buy anything from the shop. Okay, you don't need the aesthetics. All right, but also at the same time, if it makes you happy and you have the funds for it, go ahead and get it. I personally think you shouldn't do it because you already paid $70 for this game, or if you got the deluxe edition at $70 plus, and there's really cool aesthetics that you can change your wardrobe to in the game. But if you want to, go ahead. I personally think that you shouldn't. But I mean, who am I to tell you how to have fun? Okay? So do whatever you want to do or whatnot. So, yeah, I will say the game is fun. You can create your own legendaries. Oh, okay, all right. Let's talk about that. All right. So, you can get yellows to where you can upgrade them as long as you have the materials for it. You go and get your yellows. You upgrade the yellows all the way maxed out, and then if you have a legendary, cause legendaries drop and they have aspects for certain builds, whatever kind of character you have, which is the thing I should have talked about earlier about how I was like, oh, the modifications will have this blizzard come down and it blizzards to me, and then my aspect that I have works off of my blizzard ability, therefore it gives me armor. So the cool thing I like about Diablo's 4 item system is you can get a yellow, you can upgrade it max, and if you don't like the stats on it, as long as you have the mats and the money for it, you can change, I think it's one stat at a time to fit your character's build. So an example for me, my thing will be this item has, you have a 20% resistance to lightning, and it's I don't really care about that. I want more of intellect so I can punch him in the face with my ice cubes. You know what I mean? It's hot out here. Here's a beverage. Get cooled. So I want to be able to take my item and either I'm going to get intellect because I'm playing as a Sorc, or I want something to do that involves with frost, either frozen or damage when they are frozen, or anything that involves with cold damage, all right? So you go in there and you can go and do that and put that on your character, and it'll buff your character up because of whatever class you play. Now, after you have it leveled up and you have one of the stats changed to fit your build more, you can upgrade it to being a legendary by slapping an aspect on it. Okay? So if I have a wand that gives me like attack speed for basic super quickly, and it's got some other triggering thing for whatever, I could be like, alright, I know I'm playing as a frost sorcerer. Okay? I'm a frosty mage. Alright? The one that works at Wendy's, not the broken one at McDonald's. I'm sorry, McDonald's, but you mixed up, alright? So yeah, you take an aspect that says they do more damage when they're frozen or chilled or stunned or vulnerable, and then BAM! You slap that on a weapon and you go out there and have a good time. Why do I gotta be better? Who cares? I just want to go out there and slap people with my icy hands. That's one of the cool things I like about Diablo 4 is that the way they have their item system is pretty neat. Although you can't trade legendaries, kind of whack in my opinion, because there's so many legendaries that drop that like I know you could save the aspects for yourself, right? And I know you could probably get you could make a better item with the yellows and turn them into legendaries by slapping the aspect and changing a stat around or whatever. But dude, if I have like a weapon that's a legendary with that aspect, and I have like 6 of those aspects on that weapon, and this weapon could be useful on somebody else, just let somebody have it. Why the hell do I have to be like, now it's bound to my account because it's a legendary? Dumb. It's just dumb. You have millions and millions of like chances of RNG, which is applied to everybody. But if I have something that a friend of mine can use, just let me give it to them. It's so dumb. Alright. We talked a lot about Diablo 4. It was very scatterbrained because I have ADD. I'm sorry. It's just how it happens, okay? There's another thing I want to talk about. We're changing the subject. We're going from the video game of Diablo 4 to a tabletop game called Magic the Gathering. Oh, yes! I get to talk about Magic the Gathering, and my friends don't groan at me because they're kind of into it, but then they look at me and say, you talk too much about that, and then I look at them and I go, yeah, you're right. But I'm going to talk about it because this is my podcast, and we're going to talk about what I want to talk about. Yeah, so let's talk about the Lord of the Rings stuff. We're going to start with the One Ring. They found it! Yay! We can finally move on from this, like, everybody, like, freaking out about the one serialized ring or whatever. It's cool, but I'm not going to spend dozens of dollars to catch this one ring. And I mean only one ring out of millions and millions of cards. That's stupid. Why would I want that one? Well, I mean, I want it because then I get bragging rights to be like, hey, I got this one ring. But then again, because it's the one ring and it's worth, I think it's worth $2 million right now. Maybe it's more than that. You can't tell anybody about that. If you were to get that ring, I'm sure someone would stab you and take the ring from you. Oh man, that would be terrible. Yeah, so I heard you got the one ring, man. Oh yeah, man. Like I spent like thousands of dollars, and dude, I opened up a bunch of packs and I didn't get it, but I got a bunch of really cool cards. Oh yeah, man. Yeah, that's really cool. You know. So, you want to show me it? Oh yeah, man, it's super cool. Oh yeah, I can't find my binder at the moment, but it's oh, here it is. Like I found it, and it's great. And oh man, look at that. It's a beauty, isn't it? Yeah, it's a pretty nice card. Like there's only one of those out of the entire thing of the collector cards of the Lord of the Rings set, Oh yeah, it's such a good card, like, God, I can't wait to actually use it. Oh yeah, me neither. And he stabs you like multiple times, and then he just takes the card and he's like, see you on the other side, dumbass, and then hops out the window or whatever and breaks his legs, but at least he's got the one ring and he's dragging himself back to his house with the one ring. I'm sorry you saw that scenario. That's a really like hyperbolic, like fake scenario that I made up, but you wouldn't be able to tell anybody about that ring because they'd probably beat you up and take it, and then they'd sell it. That's why you just gotta buy the set box and hope you get the regular one, because nobody's gonna stab you and take that. So yeah, but I think it was dumb. Like, it was kind of a dumb move that WotC did that. Why? So they can make a bunch of money, and it worked. I walked into my local game store one time. And don't judge me, I bought like 10 packs, okay? I bought 10 packs, which was like probably a little over $100. We're not going to talk about that. We're going to talk about those who spent $100 plus for way less boosters. And all I could think of is like, man, you could get so much more if you just bought the booster box. However, the set booster box at the time was like $500, and that wasn't the collector's one. That was just the set booster itself. Screw that noise. I'm hoping that the next time I go in there, that the box is like $160 to $150, because then I can get that. Now, besides me freaking out about this cardboard crack and the one ring where someone's gonna get it, which they did. Although I do like the memes where someone was like, if I ever get this card, I'm gonna toss it in a mountain. Or a volcano is what it was. And I was like, that's hilarious. But also at the same time, I might beat you up if you do that. You have a better chance of just selling the ring so you can get more money. And then what you do is you buy more set booster boxes and you get more of the one ring and you just keep tossing them in the volcano and you just laugh maniacally and look at all the people who are into Magic like heavily go, I can't believe you did that, and you just go toss. It's a lot of money being tossed into a volcano, but I digress. Anyway, let's actually go to like talking about the set itself. It's got really cool stuff into it. I haven't really got to play any of them with anybody because from where I live, it's kind of far away from my friends, and one of these days I'll have to play them the next time I see them. With some of the Lord of the Ring cards, not the Tempt the Ring ones, but the ones that are just like here's a good example. There was one card where I had this. To talk about this, I have to set this up like this. So I have an idea of this card game that I'm making, and I'm using Magic cards as a rough draft of an example of this card game that I'm making. Okay. Now, will it ever become a big thing in the future? Most likely not, because it's really hard to make like a card game that competes to one of the biggest granddaddy card games in the world, which is Magic the Gathering. Or even like against Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh, which are like the younger siblings of Magic, right? Like basically it's like the three juggernauts of the card game: Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon, and Magic, which I guess is a fourth one entering the arena, which is sorcery, but I don't want to talk about that one yet. I want to like look up that one more and then talk about that in a podcast. So, but no, they had this really cool idea where you would draw cards, which was like a scry, but when you scry, you get to put 1+1 counters on creatures, which is an idea I had for my card game that I want to do. Where I called it Battle Scry. And what it was is that you would have a Battle Scry where you would draw the amount of cards that it says, right? And you pick one. But the amount that you drawed, you get to put 1+1 counters, or you get that many 1+1s until the end of your turn. I haven't decided which one I wanted to do because I kind of have to like make the game and then test those out in different times I play it to see what like the fairness of it feels like, right? Because sometimes you can think of an idea and be like, oh man, this is super dope and it sounds like a fun thing to do or a fun mechanic, and then you actually put it into practice and then you'd be like, oh wow, that's a little overpowered, or oof, that's a pretty weak ability. So like you kind of have to test them out to see what's gonna stay on the drawing board or gonna be erased off of the drawing board. But which is really cool idea, because in Magic you can literally just like build around that mechanic if they start making more cards like that. And it would just be this really cool thing that you could do that involves with scrying and putting 1+1 counters, and then you can make your creatures unblockable, and there's just so many cool things that you could do that. And there's a lot of really cool mechanics in the Lord of the Rings set, but I haven't looked at all of them. But like, I think that one of the main ones that caught my attention was Orcish Bowmasters. Dear God, that is such a cool card. Oh my goodness. I would foil lots of people's plans if I had that card. Especially blue players that love to like draw. Just draw. Oh, they would be in so much pain. And it would be so fun to see them do that. But there's a bunch of them, cards that do a bunch of cool things, and I haven't looked at all of them because I want to be able to like actually look through them and then make something out of them, which is super cool. Alright, so I like the Lord of the Ring ones. I wish I got to see what the commanders were like, but I haven't really got to look at the commanders for the Lord of the Rings set. So, you know, it was a cool set. I don't think that the prices are justifiable, but they've probably gone down immensely at this point since I found the One Ring, which, yay! Which means I can go in there and buy a box for a decent amount of price. Moving on to the next subject, though, let's talk about Commander's Masters. Oh my goodness. Why, Wizards? Why is it that this set is like $400 or more for the box set for cards in there that are just going to dip so bad in the secondary market? Now, granted, you could say, I'm just going to wait for like a couple of months and then buy them singly, which is like probably the best idea to do because they're going to dip so hard in the secondary market. But somebody has to buy these cards in order for those to be on the market, which is still trash. Why is it has to be $400 or more for cards that already exist? Are you kidding me? Like, dude, I know there's like extremely good mythics in there. My Urza that used to be like a $40 card dipped $30. It's a $10 card now, and that card's amazing. My frickin' Jeweled Lotus was like $100. Now it's dipping from like $60 to $50. What in the hell are you doing, Wizards? Why are you making these prices so high? It almost feels like this game is for whales. It's not for like your common person that wants to play Magic and have a good time with your friends, which you could still buy cards and do that. No, you know what? Not even, because like 160, because it used to be like 120 for certain sets now, right? And it's just expensive. And like, how do you justify? How the hell do you justify $500 for this set? And the world is on fire right now. Like, people are barely fucking buying groceries. Like, it costs like 2 arms, a testicle, and your left arm just to have a thing of groceries. Like, what? So you just go, our fans are just price sensitive. And it's like, no, it's just illogical to have your prices to be $500 for fucking cardboard. Like, what? I know there's good cards in there. There's Ulamog, there's Urza, there's Jeweled Lotus, there's lots of really good cards that have existed through Magic's history. It would be fine if it was just $200. I think even that is still a pricey budget. But like $400 to $500? Are you kidding me? Too much. Don't even get me started with the Commanders, okay? Commanders used to be like $40 a piece, all right? And people could pick up a Commander deck and just go and have a good time. Now Commander decks are either $80 or more. How the hell do you justify that? That is so crap, Wizards. Like, are you kidding me? It just upsets me that they do that. You know? It's like, dude, like, the one thing that kind of bugs me, and this puts me, okay, so this thing I'm about to talk about puts me in a weird part where, like, I'm sitting on the fence, you know what I mean? Where it's like, okay, I understand, you know, like, this will allow people to buy cards in a cheaper sense after they buy it, but also at the same time, I don't think it's justifiable for you to go out and spend $500 on a box for cards. Okay? Like, it's just weird. It's so weird. Also, WotC, you guys put out too much product now. There was a point where you had like, I think it was like 4 or 6 products a year. And you thought thoroughly through your decks for like sets and whatnot. And I just don't understand it anymore. It's like every month or every 2 months now, you create a set. And like some of those sets are bunk, in my opinion. And then within those bunk sets, there's a few good cards that do cool things, okay? But you have too many sets coming out a year. You have variations of many different cards. You would be saving money if you weren't being like, this card is a borderless, this card is like a crazy art type, this type is a crazy borderless art type, this one's from the secret lair. Dude, too much crap. Okay? Too much crap. Alright, WotC? Not only that, you're pumping out too many commanders too. And asking for way too much money for too many of these products. Don't even get me started with the secret layer things. That is so asinine to me. It boggles my mind that that's a fucking thing. Pardon my language, but it really annoys me that that's a thing. I understand that people like different variations art of cards. But if you're going to do the different variation of art cards, don't put it in your sets or your collector boosters. Just make it a secret layer thing, okay? You would save more money instead of printing ink and all of that stuff there. You could just be like, hey, we have like 2 or 4 sets of secret layers a year, so you could actually thoroughly think on how you want to do the art and if it's justified for the price. Because let's be honest, you did the Lord of the Rings thing and it was garbage. You asked for $40 for a product where cards were like 25 cents or slightly higher or lower. That is garbage. Do better. You can do better, WotC. And on that note, I think that's where I'm going to end this episode. Because if I go any further, Joe, I'm going to be so upset. It just upsets me. It just makes me so mad that they just plan these things out to be that way. And have the audacity to say that our fans, or their fans, are price sensitive. I don't understand it. I mean, I do. They're greedy bastards. But still, I love your product. Okay? I want Magic to thrive, and I want people who want to play Magic or who are curious of Magic to get into Magic. But in the state of Magic right now, WotC, it's not going to really go well. Are people going to buy your stuff? Of course they're going to buy your stuff. The whales are going to buy your stuff. Or those who have a decent job are going to buy your stuff. But people who kind of have money and can't get it because you're overpricing your stuff aren't going to be able to play it. So on that note, I got a dip. This ponder wave is going way off the rails, and this is only the first episode. All right. This is the end of the episode. If you got this far, thank you. Leave a like, comment if you want. I'm open for dialogue, whatever. I will see you guys later. You have a great day or night. And I'm thinking about doing these like once a month. So, thank you for listening. This is new for me. So, have a great day or night. Peace.